When people are looking at creating video content, one of the big fears, the big barriers, is the fear of the technology. And when you look at some of the highly edited, high production value videos that are out there on YouTube and other platforms, it can feel like you have to duplicate that, and that's not at all the case. In fact, you can get started with video just with 3 simple editing skills that I'm going to show you right now. So here we are inside my video editing software, which is Camtasia in this case. And I've been using Camtasia for a long time. Highly recommend it. It's quite simple when you look at the interface compared to a lot of the other software out there. So if you want to try it, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But you can do this in any video editing software. These are very basic skills as you just get started editing some of your first videos. So we're actually editing this very video here at the moment, and I've got down in track 1 the clip of the intro that I just did just a couple of seconds ago here. And you can see that it's a little bit long. This is the first thing I look for is there any dead air or dead space on the front or the end of the clip? And in this case there is, so the first skill I want to apply is trimming this clip. And in most software it's as simple as going to the front end and dragging the clip until it's up to the front end of the audio, and then I'll do the same thing on the back end. Just drag that down until it meets the end of the audio, and we can see the audio waves quite clearly there. And then I'll click and drag that whole clip up to the front of the track. So that is trimming. Trimming is probably the most important of these 3 skills I'm going to show you today, because when you have a lot of dead air and dead space, well, it doesn't hold viewer attention very well. And so you want to avoid that, eliminate that as much as possible, and keep your clips really tight together so you're moving from one thing to the next without any gaps in the middle that the viewer has to kind of sit through and be waiting for the next thing to happen. We want to avoid that. So the next 2 skills are 2 types of common transitions, and a transition is what you see between clips, what happens between clips as you join them up together. So the next thing in this video is my branded intro after I gave the actual description of what it is I'm doing here in the video. So I've got my branded intro ready to go here in my media bin, and I'm going to drag and drop that down onto the first track right against that first intro piece. And we'll have a look at what is called a cut or a jump cut. And this is probably the most common kind of transition, especially on YouTube, because jump cuts happen very quickly, and they're helpful for pattern interruptions in videos, which is another strategy I'll talk about in another video, but it's one way to keep viewers' attention while they're watching your video. So a jump cut is just simply jumping from one clip to the next without any fancy effects happening between the clips. So if I play this through at regular speed right now, you can see that it just quite literally jumps into the next image. Sometimes we don't want that harsh jump cut in between clips. So the other most common transition type is called a fade. And I'm going to go into my transitions menu here, and there are many different types of transitions. If we open all of them, there's all kinds of fancy dissolves and flips and blinds and circles. I just want to have a look at the fades, and the 2 types are just a standard crossfade is what we might call it, or fade to black. And fade through to black is what we see at the end of a program typically, so we don't use that very often other than at the end of a video. It may sometimes come in handy there. So I want just the standard fade, and I'm going to drag that effect down, and I'm just going to drop it in between those 2 clips, the intro and the branded intro. And watch what happens if I just slowly drag through here. You can see where the fade starts. My image starts to fade away, and as that's happening, the new image starts to appear. And so when we play that through, that I'm going to show you right now. we get a nice smooth fade transition between those two clips. So once you've got those 3 skills, you're really ready to go for some of your first videos. So trimming a clip, that really is most important, and you can do that even on the YouTube editor and on some of the editors on your smartphones. Do that because you'll hold your viewers' attention. And then 2 types of transitions that are really easy: the jump cut, which you don't really have to do anything, just add your next clip and put them up together with the clips in front of them. And then the fade, which is a little smoother and a little bit more professional looking, and probably the second most common type of transition between clips. Most video content experts are going to tell you just hit record, whether it's your webcam or your smartphone. Just hit that record button and start talking and get your message recorded and get it out there to the world for people to hear. You don't have to worry about any fancy production stuff, the lighting and the music and the graphics and things that you see in some other people's videos. Yeah, I do it too sometimes, of course, because I'm in the business, but it's totally unnecessary. The message is what is important. So if you get that right and you get these 3 basic editing skills down pat, trimming and a couple of different transitions between clips, jump cuts and fades, well, you're going to have some pretty polished video. All the best.